kind of recap. So, because I have a kindergarten, so basically you're saying for the younger ones, just find out what they like, and you basically teach them how to learn. Okay.
Yes. Let them explore as much as possible.
Read a lot of books.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'd also like to ask you, do you intend on sending them back to school later, or are you considering homeschooling for a while?
It's so up in the air. The only problem is my oldest is going to be in 5th grade this year, and that transition from 5th to 6th, like I don't know. I don't know. Do I want to send her to middle school? I mean, what is homeschooling curriculum? Is it any different come 5th to 6th grade, or is it just basically you make your own? You know, is what I'm kind of getting from all this is.
Well, the reason I ask that is because if you plan on sending them back, just doing more of a school at home makes sense. But to me, one of the biggest breakthroughs I had, which is why I always recommend it to other people, is once I found my homeschooling style. Because you can do at home where you're doing it very traditionally. You can do classical. When I found Charlotte Mason inspired homeschooling, it just clicked and worked for my family. And so I found Wildwood, which is this awesome book list for that. And so everything else just kind of fell in place. And my math programs was easily brought down to, well, 2 choices now because of my own personal preferences and theories on how I choose to teach my children. So if you intend on sending them back in a year or 2, then just getting what works for now is amazing. But if you intend on home educating your children, kind of finding your niche and what you kind of, and there's so many different blogs and so many different books about the different styles, and with quizzes and stuff, with the unit studies, doing it that way, doing it more fun schooling, like Amanda's great at the fun schooling stuff, and finding the cool units and things. And we do our handicrafts, and we do, our riches and our picture, famous artist studies, which most, kindergartners aren't doing that. So depending on which way you want to go, that kind of helps narrow things down once you get an idea of how you want your day-to-day life to look.
Absolutely.
With your children.
Absolutely. And I appreciate that. Yeah, I guess this next year is going to be me figuring out whether I want to eventually send them back or if I'm going to keep them home and teaching permanently.
See where your sanity is next summer.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Crazy.
I really enjoyed them being home since March. I feel like we've excelled and they've done really well. Even being just thrown into this. So I don't think we've done bad at all. And I enjoyed it. So I don't think it'll be a big thing, but we'll see. I do have an almost 2-year-old.
Yeah, it's every day is not going to be perfect, like Sarah said. Sanity. You're going to have days where you don't want to do it anymore.
So often between the 3 of us, we're like, we're sending them back, sending them to school.
and that's why I feel my heart goes out to so many people who feel forced into the decision, because homeschooling is a big commitment. You've got to have enough commitment to get you through the times when you're hating it, to get back to that love.
Right.
And what you said about the relationship is, and I'm sure Tracy can talk on this so much more than I can. Just in a few years, my kids have watched more babies come into the family. They've been here for this. We're forced to go through our good days and bad days. We're forced to learn together because we're not as separate. So in some ways, that facilitates relationships so much more.
Yeah, definitely.
Tracy, can you talk about that a bit?
I definitely think that it facilitates relationships. It can create stresses because going through your teenage years with your teenager, you're going to be their guidance counselor. You're going to be their mom. And sometimes there's just some things where you're not the person they can talk to, and they need to talk to someone else. So having relationships with other homeschool parents going through the same situation definitely helps. And I definitely think I have better one-on-one conversations with my kids because we've done this together. And it's not, I do agree with Amanda, it's not always perfect. And you have to accept that, because that's actually really reality. Your everyday is not always perfect. And their day is not always going to be perfect. And there are days You pick up the homeschool books and go, we're not homeschooling today. We are going to do,
Nintendo all morning this morning.
we're gonna gotta do something different. And you will not lose anything by doing that. And if anything, grow more with your young people. And you know, the only thing I would say, if you really let your children be your guide, at some point they might want to go back to school. And I would say the best kind of places for that to happen would be at 8th grade if they're going to do high school, because then everybody's going to move to high school. So everybody's going to be separated, going to different high schools depending on where they live. And that's a good time to do it. But you might be surprised at how well you do that you don't like, because I didn't know that I would be able to do this. And now that I've done it, I'm really happy that's the route we took. And it wasn't perfect all the time, but I feel like my kids are in a good place because of it.